after Jesus Christ offered himself as the perfect sacrifice on the cross and he ascended toward heaven, he started the priestly ministry. The order of events are quite similar to what happened at the sin offerings during the daily ministry in the Old Testament. First, you had the offering and then the priestly mediation. So here's the same thing. When Christ is our high priest in heaven, he starts off doing something for us. He is offering the merits of his sacrifice. Now, in the center of the book of Hebrews, it is said that Jesus Christ is our high priest. In Hebrews 8:1, it says it's the main thing. Jesus is the high priest next to the Father in heaven, serving at the true tabernacle, the heavenly sanctuary which God had erected and not man. The book of Hebrews also illustrates the significance and the position of Jesus Christ by using two priestly traditions from the Old Testament. The one is the tradition according to Melchizedek. Melchizedek was a priestly king at the time of Abram. And through him blessing Abram, it is very easy to see that he is more important than any priest coming from the seed of Abram. That illustrates the royal, the divine aspect of Jesus' high priestly ministry. On the other hand, we have Aaron, the high priest, of course. And Jesus Christ in the book of Hebrews is said to be the better priest, the better high priest than Aaron himself. This, of course, illustrates the high priestly functions of Jesus' ministry. But what is Jesus Christ as priest doing in heaven? Well, there are many New Testament texts giving an answer to these, and a few of these we want to give now. One is, for example, Romans 8, from verse 31 on. We have here a court scene, and we should visualize ourselves to be in the dock. And the question is, will we survive? Will we be justified? Now, the answer is clear here. Who will condemn us is a victory cry. Who will accuse us? Because there is God, and God is on our side. He has given his only Son, and this Son died for us. And not even that, he also intercedes for us right now. So who is there who will condemn us? Jesus Christ, as the intercessor, makes sure that we can be free from fear of condemnation, that we can have assurance of justification. But what if we sin? Well, here comes in 1 John chapter 2, where it says, if you sin, there is a mediator, there is the advocate, Jesus Christ, and he is righteous. A third passage is found in 1 Timothy 2:5. It says there that there's one God and there's one mediator, and that mediator is the human Jesus Christ. Now, that word for mediator is interesting because it seems to be based on the concept of patronage in the ancient Mediterranean world. That concept helps to understand what Jesus as a priest is doing for us. There's first the patron, who is a wealthy benefactor who could provide extensive gifts and favors. And then there's the client who is in need of such a patron. Because of the patron, he could climb in society. He could make something of himself, but he needs to have such a patron. The question is, how does the client come together with the patron? There needs to be a third person. That third person is called the mediator. The mediator knows the client, but at the same time he knows the wealthy benefactor. And that mediator makes sure that that relationship between client and patron works. Now, Jesus Christ is our mediator. He's our only exclusive mediator to bring us into relationship, into connection with that God who has all the riches of the universe and who wants to bestow us with his grace. Now, that relationship between patron and client works only if the client is loyal. If he multiplies the honor of the patron, if he is giving thanksgiving, public thanksgiving for what the benefactor has done for him. And that's what we do. We are so grateful that God gave us so many good things, including his only Son. The book of Hebrews is, of course, the best source for Christ's priestly ministry. I think one of the verses I like best there is Hebrews 7:25, because it shows us how we can have assurance again. Jesus lives forever and he has a permanent priesthood. Therefore, says it in verse 25, he is able to save completely those who come to God through him, because he always intercedes for them. That's the first phase of Christ's ministry. It's his daily ministry. He wants to save the world. He wants to save us. He wants to grant forgiveness, to provide his merits of his sacrifice to everyone. And the book of Hebrews focuses on that phase of Jesus' ministry. Of course, there's a second phase in addition to the first one, and that's the Day of Atonement phase, and that's what we will study in the next 2 weeks in the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and 8, and how it's connected to the Day of Atonement. But for now, it is Jesus Christ who will save us. One of the verses I like best outside of the book of Hebrews is Romans 5:10, and I would like to read that here from today's New International Version. Romans 5 verse 10 says, "For if while we were God's enemies, we were reconciled to him through the death of his Son, how much more, having been reconciled, shall we be saved through his life?" And that's what Jesus' high priestly ministry is all about. His life will now save us.